Merhaba arkadaşlar, hepiniz IEFT Talks seminerlerine hoş geldiniz. Bugün İngiltere'nin önde gelen üniversitelerinden University of Exeter'de eğitimi Hayley, Yoezia ve Oliver'dan dinliyor olacağız. Lütfen sorularınızı questions kısmından sormayı unutmayın. Yes, Hayley, the stage is yours now.
Okay, thank you. Hi everyone, welcome to this University of Exeter webinar on law and politics, and thank you very much for attending today. I'm Hayley, and I work in the International Student Recruitment team at the university. And joining me today is Associate Professor Olacak from the University of Exeter Law School and Professor Oliver James, who lectures on political science. So how it's going to work today is that they are going to give two short presentations on our law and politics courses and what you can expect from studying at Exeter. This will take about 30 minutes. So during the presentations, if you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A section and we'll answer these at the end. Okay, so we're going to start with law.
Thank you, Hayley. Let me start by sharing my screen. Okay, hopefully you can see the slides at the moment. So as Hayley mentioned, I'm an associate professor at the law school. I'm the director of global engagement for the law school and a director of one of the research centers, the Center for the Study of European Law at the law school. And I teach both our undergraduate and postgraduate students. Therefore, I'm a pretty good person to talk to if you're interested in studying with us. So why study law at Exeter? There are 5 main points that I would want you to keep in mind after this presentation. First is that we are excellent in our research. We have a cutting-edge research expertise in many different areas, in international human rights, commercial law, family law, legal history, and environmental law. We really look into practical application of the law. So a lot of our research is interdisciplinary and also geared towards informing policy making. We encourage this focus on practical application of the law in our students, also asking them and encouraging them to engage in mooting, negotiation, mediation competitions. We have a huge community involvement. That's the third point that I wanted for you to keep in mind. Our law clinic has received an award from the Attorney General in 2019, and we offer our students a lot of different pro bono opportunities. And already from year 1 of your undergraduate studies, you can get involved, but also our postgraduate students have an opportunity to join our pro bono activities. Whether you're interested in shadowing a judge, working with migrants, or with students, advising them, for example, on their rental contracts. There are many different opportunities there. And as you can see from the slide, this year, we also encouraged our students to prepare in one of the law clinics, a report for the United Nations on the climate emergency. We have excellent research and well-being support. All our students are assigned an academic tutor, and all our postgraduate students are member of one of our research centers, at least one of our research centers. So we encourage our students to join our research activities, either as our research assistants, but also simply to just participate in the events we organize. And we have an excellent reputation. We are top 150 for law in the world, according to that Times Higher Education ranking for this year. Now, the law school is split into 2 campuses. One is in Exeter, where I am based. The other one is in Penryn in Cornwall. But obviously, these are like staged photographs of the university. I wanted to show you a little bit more what it looks like to be around here and to live here for some time at least while you're studying. So this is my commute to my work, right? I cycle to Exeter University, to the campus, and I cycle along the river, and I took this photo like a week or 2 ago. We have a lot of interesting buddies at the campus. So often you can see squirrels and bunnies hopping around on the campus. And these are pictures I took around Exeter. You can easily reach the coastline, and you have beautiful countryside with moors and woodlands around. Now, this is why it's fun to live here and study here. Why is it good for your academic career and for your career overall? As I mentioned, we have excellent research, and we have these research centers that I list here on the slide. So depending on which area of law you're interested in, you can find a research event and a research community that you would be happy to be part of. Whether it's commercial law, international law, European legal studies, family regulation and society, human rights and democracy, legal history research, or science, culture, and the law. And the last institute is really interdisciplinary, and colleagues there do research on airspace, but also on genetics and biomedicine and how legal regulation can work there. To give you an example of some of our research projects, myself, I have just this year advised European Parliament on digital service providers. So think about contracts you conclude with Facebook or with Twitter, and whether you are aware of the terms that govern these contracts, whether these terms are actually fair to you as a user. Professor Anna Betushi this year focused and last year on health passports, digital health passports, like for COVID, for example, we are now encouraged to use. And she looked into implications of introducing such health passports for data protection and privacy. Professor James Griffin has a new project where he looks into 3D printing, again, a very topical issue, especially regarding how do we resolve disputes arising from this new process. And another colleague of mine, Professor Kuba Maciak, is very much engaged and involved in developing a cyber law toolkit, which is a set of rules that is supposed to be used by different countries. So it's an international set of rules to help with cyber attacks and cyber operations. So for example, when there is a ransomware attack or someone is stoking hatred online. So as you can see, we have experts on different areas of law, and this is just a very short snippet of our research. And obviously, we use our research in our teaching. So you benefit from our research expertise during the classes. What kind of undergraduate programs can you study with us? Well, there is the general LLB 3-year program, but we also have an opportunity, if you want to study a bit longer and have additional experience, to prolong your undergraduate program with us up to 4 years. And there you can choose either to go for 1 year to study abroad, and that can be with an LLB with European study or LLB with international study. Or you can decide to spend a year with professional placement, which means you're getting practical experience during that year. We also have a matrice program, which is a 4-year program where you ended this program with not only an English degree, but also a degree in French law, which entitles you to follow with examinations to become a French qualified lawyer. So we run this program with University of Exeter. And you have to be fluent in French in order to join this program, because from year 1 with us, you're also being taught by French colleagues in French law. So you're studying both English and French law. And after 3 years with us, you're going for 1 year to Rennes to study further French law there. And as of this year, we also have a dual LLB JD degree with the Chinese University of Hong Kong, where you study for 2 years with us, and then for the next 2 years, you go to the Chinese University of Hong Kong and you follow their postgraduate modules, which entitles you to have an LLB degree with us and a JD degree in Hong Kong. So what can you expect if you come to study with us on our LLB program, so the undergraduate program? These are the core modules that we at the moment teach in year 1 and 2, and year 3 is completely up to you. In year 3, you choose your own program, whether you're interested in commercial law modules or international law modules. You have many different options to choose from, and these are just some of our options. We have more. Because, for example, this year I'm teaching internet law, and this is not mentioned. This is a module for our year 3 students. So as you can see, if you're interested in commercial law pathway, you would pick company law, commercial law, maybe insurance law, or internet law, or alternative dispute resolution. If you're interested in international law and maybe public pathway for your career, you can choose modules such as law, politics, and power, technology and human rights law, human rights and human dignity, international Islamic law and society, criminal justice and evidence, and so on. Now, aside these programs in Exeter, we also have an undergraduate program at Penryn, at our second campus in Cornwall, where you study law with business, or you study business and laws. The difference between these two programs is that in LLB Law with Business, you study mostly law modules, but you have options to take from the business school at Cornwall. In the Bachelor of Business and Laws, you study mostly business, but you have an option to take some of our legal modules. So the cohort, our student cohort in Cornwall, is very interdisciplinary. It's a mix of law and business students, and there is a huge focus in this campus and with colleagues who teach there on researching environmental law. We also have postgraduate programs to offer you. So if you're interested in obtaining an LLM degree with us, we can offer you a commercial law degree where you would be studying, for example, intellectual property modules or impact of AI and modern technology. I teach consumer protection for our postgraduate students, mergers and acquisitions, competition law. These are samples of modules we can offer. In LLM International Law, you would focus on public international law modules and such modules that as cyber operations, law of armed conflict, human rights, international human rights. The commercial law pathway is more suitable if you're thinking of going into private practice. And the international law pathway is more suitable if you're thinking of working for NGOs or public administration or in diplomacy, for example. For commercial law, we can accept students who have background in management or business or administration, but have had some legal modules during their undergraduate studies. For international law, we also accept students who've studied international relationships or politics, but also they have had to have some legal background. Finally, we also have a general LLM Master of Laws pathway where you can pick and choose your own modules. So if you're not yet decided what you want to do after your LLM, or if you're interested in many different areas of law, that is the pathway that I would recommend for you to take. Our students have a chance to build brilliant careers, and we facilitate that by supporting them in building their skills. We, as I've mentioned, have a lot of pro bono opportunities. We have the mooting programs and mediation and competition and negotiation competitions fit in there as well. We also provide free virtual work experience to our students. We facilitate networking, so we organize a lot of different events, and a lot of them are organized by our law societies. We also have a lot of good contacts with our alumni network, and many of our alumni offer, for example, a chance to conduct mock interviews with our students. We have dedicated law careers advisors who provide you with workshops on how to become a barrister or solicitor, or how to look for other career after your legal degree. And they also help students, for example, with like revising their CVs. Now, there are scholarships that you can apply for as international students for a 2022 entry. Especially the postgraduate students could apply for the Global Excellence Scholarship. And it is a range of scholarships from, you can get a full scholarship, but you can also get a partial scholarship. And we generally award these scholarships to students with high academic achievements. If you want to find more, we have open days where you can come and talk to me and my colleagues, and you can find more information about the law school on the websites that I mentioned on the slides. I will be happy to answer any of your questions in our Q&A, but I think now I will pass on to my colleague from the politics department. Thank you.
Okay, so I believe people can hear me, but they may not be able to see me. But yes, great, we have the slides. So thank you very much, Joasha. That was excellent, I think, and comprehensive overview of the benefits of studying law at Exeter. What I'm going to do is to talk about why we think it's a good opportunity for people to study politics and international relations at Exeter. And I'm going to be giving the presentation, and Hayley is also going to be assisting me with the slides. So Hayley, can we have the next slide, please? So why study politics or international relations at Exeter? I think firstly, it's because it's a department that has an excellent international reputation, both for the research and for the quality of teaching. And there are many thousands of institutions worldwide that teach politics, but we regularly feature in the leading list of departments internationally and within the United Kingdom. We're also a department that's quite large and quite diverse. We cover research topics including international relations, political thought, public policy and administration, governance, comparative politics, and a variety of area studies. And if you come to Exeter, you'll be taught by people who are internationally leading experts in their field. Our emphasis is on teaching that draws on the research strength of the institution and reflects that in the courses that we run. So if you come, you have both knowledge of these substantive areas of politics, international relations, the current trends and developments, but you also get highly transferable social science skills that are suitable either for more advanced research or a broad range of careers. So the discipline of politics from a social science perspective combines written work, logical analysis, familiarity with data and statistics. And these are skills that are increasingly in a data-driven world are relevant and attractive to employers. So you have the possibility to choose which way you would like to specialize. You can be more qualitative in your skill set or more quantitative. And we have collaborations with centers for research methods that we draw on. And also we have links in some of the modules with employers, including on occasion research or work placements. And we are also, I would say, the other feature of Exeter, which I think is true of law, politics, and other disciplines at Exeter, is that we are a very international institution of outlook, and we are aimed to help international students succeed in their studies and indeed their broader life when they travel and study in the UK. So we have very good in-session or language support for people who are not necessarily or are not native speakers of English, and every student has a personal tutor, and there is a broad range of support, both in terms of their academic support, but also online and face-to-face support for career training and opportunities for progressing your study with us, and also after you graduate. Can I have the next slide, please? So this is just a sort of indication of what Exeter looks like from the air, and we have the possibility to study at two campuses, one in Exeter, the so-called Streatham campus, which is in Exeter, which is in the southwest of England. Joasha was already saying what a pleasant place the part of the world that Exeter is located in. And we also have a campus in Cornwall at Penryn, and so you have the opportunity to study the programs depending on your exact program, but you have options at both of those locations. So it's a very pleasant place to live, and I think also a place that is very practical and convenient for someone who is an international student. Next slide, please. So this is just to give you a flavour of some of the research that we do. We have experts that work on international relations, tackling issues around the different balance of powers and the foreign policy, globalization processes, internationalization of policy problems, which obviously is highly relevant when we're coming on to try to address contemporary policy challenges like trying to solve the problems of climate change or deal with the global pandemic. We also have international experts in political thought and in public policy, particularly how people can learn from policies, how governments can improve their policy in the light of evidence about the effectiveness of policy. So those are some examples of academics research that feeds directly into their teaching at the Exeter campus. Next slide, please. And we also have international experts in the Cornwall campus as well. So, for example, we have people researching the politics of environmental change, trying to address things like the climate emergency, which in large respect, these are political problems. We know now there is a consensus on much of the science, but it's a big difference between having this scientific knowledge and bringing about policies that are effective for tackling the problem. So we have a range of research on that. We also have people obviously studying electoral politics in a range of contexts, including the United States, the European Union, European Union member states, the United Kingdom, and indeed we have a faculty who are from many of these countries. So we're a very international faculty as well. We have people from who are teaching on the programs from the United States, from European countries, from the Middle East, from Asia. So in this way, the faculty who are teaching understand the needs of international students in particular. Next slide, please. So in terms of the programs that we offer, here is just a flavour of the undergraduate programs. And I'm not going to repeat information that's available on our website, but I would say, you could Google now and you could see our programs as I'm talking to you about that. And if you have any questions about our programs, please do ask. But I'm just going to give you a little bit of a flavour of some of our programs. Next slide, please. So these are the full list of the programs that are available from the BA in politics, international relations, but also politics and international relations in combination with other subjects. So you can study it in combination, for example, with philosophy and economics, or with modern languages, or with sociology. So I would very much encourage you to look at the website, the University of Exeter, to see programs that might be of interest to you, because there is a lot of choice available to you. Next slide, please. So just to focus down on one example of this, this is just one of those programs that was listed on the previous slide. Looks at international relations, so-called IR, and it's at the Streatham campus at Exeter. So this just gives you an idea of what it would be like to study. So in the first year, you do core modules looking at the key concepts for international relations. Then you'd come on in the second and third years to specialize in particular modules that are of interest to you. And you also have the opportunity to do a dissertation, which is on a topic of particular interest to you. And people often use that to focus on something maybe they'd want to do further study on, or maybe an area they'd like to work in their career. And it's something that gives them an opportunity, therefore, to talk with organizations where they might one day want to work. Now, obviously, the programs vary a little bit from year to year, but that gives you an idea of their core features. So next slide, please. So these are the sorts of options that might be available. People could specialize in an area of politics that they're interested in, for example, in British politics or in politics of another country. They can specialize more in research methods. They can look at the politics of a particular policy challenge. So clearly we all know the big problems of climate change, or dealing with international terrorism, or dealing with global pandemics. And so you have the opportunity to specialize and get skills and experience relevant to those topics. Next slide, please. So this is an opportunity, just showing you the opportunities available to you if you're studying politics in Penryn in Cornwall. So it's a similar setup in terms of the courses that are available to you. So you have the same sorts of sort of options available to you. The setting is very different, and obviously we like to show a nice picture of the beach, but we expect the students not to be on the beach all the time. But this is just to show you that it is a very nice place in the world to study as well. But obviously your core focus is on study. Next slide, please. And so these are some of the options that would be available to you were you studying on these courses. So just some more examples of the kinds of things that people can specialize in when they study. Political violence, political theory, security studies, and so on. Next slide, please. There are also opportunities for you as part of your study to engage in work placements and study abroad. And again, for more details of those, you can see our website. But just to say that students do travel and are engaged in their studies at a range of universities around the world. And so it really gives you an opportunity to get a broad perspective on global opportunities available to you. Next slide. But we also have opportunities beyond the formal curriculum to develop your skills, to interact with other students, to talk with them about interesting policy issues, and also to learn by being engaged in simulations of policy issues, engaging in model United Nations meetings, model European Union meetings. And in this way, you can really get a flavor and skills relevant to potential careers that will use the benefit from the studies you've undertaken at Exeter. Next slide. I'm just going to also summarize some of the postgraduate programs available to you at Exeter. So if we can have the next slide, please. There are a range of postgraduate programs available. Again, please, I encourage you to look at our website to see the range that's available. But we have a full range of options across from public policy, political thought, public administration, international relations. There are, as I said, these programs developed and taught by international experts. The people who are teaching the programs are the people who've written the material that is the content of the courses that you're studying, because they are recognized international research leaders in their fields. So you get the opportunity to be taught by people who wrote much of the literature that you'd be studying when you're at Exeter. And this is a sort of obviously a benefit of studying as an institution like this. And also we have the possibility for you to develop skills in quantitative and qualitative methods. And sometimes that's as part of dedicated master's programs that are related to quantitative or qualitative methods, but also as a component part of your other programs. So I'm just going to give you also a flavor of some of a selection of our programs. If we have the next slide, please. So now I'm talking again about these master's programs that you would do after your undergraduate study. So if you've done your undergraduate study, you would do these in there typically a year long. So this is just an example of the public policy program, that if people are interested in careers in public policy, working with governments or public organizations, they would benefit from the skills and knowledge that a program in public policy would give them. Another program we have, the next slide please, is in data science. And we have a program that really responds to the contemporary availability of large amounts of data from all kinds of different sources. We used to think of data as data just coming from surveys or data coming from sort of government administrative records, but now all kinds of data is collected about social media, videos can be turned into data and so on. And this program, Applied Social Data Science, looks at how people can make sense and use data in a range of careers and opportunities to sort of tackle contemporary policy problems. And also that's something that's seen as sort of highly prized by employers. Next slide, please. And two other programs just briefly to mention are our MSc, our Masters in Global Governance, which is highly focused on people who might want to work for international organizations, and our Masters in Conflict, Security and Development, that looks at the relationship between solutions to political, solutions to violence that involve political outcomes and political solutions. And these programs really benefit people when they're looking to get a job and to develop their careers. Next slide, please. So if we look at some of the career paths that are available to people having studied, these are examples of organizations that people who have studied at Exeter now work at. We collaborate internationally, so people work for UK government, they work for other countries' governments, they work for organizations like the World Bank, and also for a range of private companies, particularly companies that are sort of internationally oriented and value people with language skills. Obviously, speaking English is a major asset for international students, but also having studied in the UK gives a broader insight, as well as the skills and knowledge you get from your programs. It also gives you an opportunity to really see the career paths that could be available to you across a range of public and private sector organizations. And just finally, to sort of finish up with, I'll talk a little bit about some of our scholarships. Next slide, please. So we do have some scholarships for the 2020 entry, and I'd advise you, if you want trying to find out a little bit more about what it's like to be an international student, please do look at, there's a lot of material on the website about this, and we can answer any questions you have. Next slide, please. And some of these, just as sort of an example of the scholarships that we have these Global Excellence Scholarships that are available for our postgraduate taught master's programs, so those postgraduate courses that I mentioned, and they recognise our desire to bring people to Exeter to study with us and to benefit from the opportunities that the University of Exeter presents. So I will finish there, and I look forward to discussing these matters with you. And as I said, if you want to find out more, please look at the website. But we also have a series of virtual open days where you can online get a feeling of what it's like to study at Exeter, and also follow up any questions you might have. Thank you very much.
Okay, that's great. Thank you both. They were both really informative presentations there. We do have a few questions that have come in, so I'll now just go through some of these. Okay, so okay, some of them have been answered already, so that's great. So some of these can be relevant to both law and politics. There are some answers there for law already, but if someone's asked, what are the networking opportunities like? So possibly for politics?
Yes, I can certainly take that. So we had the opportunities presented by our societies, so as well as your communication with students in seminars and with the faculty, we have a series of organizations that are set up to discuss particular policy issues. So, for example, environmental politics, or the issues of the politics of the pandemic. There have been meetings where students interact both with other students, with researchers, and undertaking research into those topics, and also with former students who are now working in some of those organizations that I showed in the slides, where they have an opportunity to meet people who are sort of further down the line in terms of their career and actually working in public organizations or private firms. And so they have an opportunity to network and to find out information about opportunities that might be available to them. And we have these are sort of ongoing events alongside the formal teaching program that are available to our students.
Great, thanks very much. Okay, just having a scroll through the questions now. Do you have partner companies that provide internships or job opportunities for students? Again, Yoash has given some information there, but do you have anything further to add on that one?
Yes, so I think quite a few questions were actually about the opportunity to have a placement, or I understand you're concerned about if you study with us, what are your career, like how can we facilitate your career opportunities? So as I've mentioned in my answers, we do cooperate with a lot of leading global law firms, and I've mentioned one of them is Reed Smith. We have a specific arrangement with them to have a student placed with them. Like one of our best students, and obviously there's like a competitive application process there, but that's just one of the many opportunities for students that decide to have either a professional legal placement or an industrial placement. Industrial placement means we work with different companies. So for example, some of our students go and do this placement in an energy company or a telecommunication company. we have this really huge department for employability and career zone where specific advisors are meant to help you to discuss with you what are the opportunities, what are your skills, how you can match the skills with the opportunities, how you can prepare and develop better for the work market. So we do work with various companies on these opportunities.
Great, thanks very much. One of the questions is, when is the deadline for applying? I will just add to that it's important to look at the program you're applying for to check the deadlines. For a lot of our undergraduate programs, the UCAS deadline is at the end of January. You can still apply after January, but if you can apply by then, it's better.
Not for law.
Oh, not for law. Okay.
For law, we're going to have because we have a lot of students, so we're going to have we had to close our applications like end of January for undergraduate law.
Okay, brilliant. So yeah, so with the exception of law, you can still apply for some of our undergraduate programs after January, but obviously our really popular courses, it is better to get your application in by January. For our postgraduate courses, we do tend to take applications up until the summer, but again, the sooner you can apply, the better, really, because it gives you a lot more time to sort out your visa, your accommodation, all those things you have to think about to come to the UK. Okay, so I think that's it for the questions, actually. We seem to have covered most of them in the answers so far. So unless anyone else has got any sort of last minute questions to ask, I think we'll probably leave it there. Okay, so yeah, nothing else has come in. So again, thanks very much to Oliver and Joasha for delivering the webinar today. And if you do have any further questions or you want to ask anything else you think about later on, please feel free to get in touch with us. All our contact details for the university you can find on the website. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much for the great presentation, Haley. Let's go, Oliver. All right, it looks like you covered all of the questions. Thank you for your answers too. And also, could you please share an email address on the chat box so that the participants can directly contact?
Yeah, no problem. I will do that now. Okay, yeah, so that email I've just shared there is for the international recruitment email for the Turkey region.
Yes, thank you very much again. Also, I would like to thank the participants in Turkish as well. Katıldığınız için teşekkür ederiz arkadaşlar. University of Exeter ile ilgili diğer sorularınız için chat kısmında paylaşılmış olan mail adresinden Haley'e ulaşabilirsiniz. Umarım sizin için de faydalı bir webinar olmuştur. Aynı zamanda sizi altıdaki webinarımıza da davet etmek isteriz. Thank you very much again, you guys. It was a pleasure to have you in IEFT Talks.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.